Hi guys, PR Charles here, and today's video is on tools you can use to latch your hair. Okay, traditionally when people talk about latching, they think of the latch hook or the latch rugging, the latch hook used to make the little rugs that you can find the patterns for in like Michaels. Also, people who wear crochet braids, I believe they use a latch hook. All these latch hooks you can find in the beauty supply store. That's the regular size latch hooks. In this kit here, I have these little tiny baby ones. Let me zoom in. And here's the next one. And I will get into that in just a second. First off, I'd like to say I tighten my hair normally with the Sisterlocks tool. When you take the retightening class, they issue you two tools. One is a longer tool that you use for when you get to the base of the hair when you're starting or short hair, and the other one is more like a darning. It fixes holes, and you can retighten the hair with that regularly. It clamps onto the hair. Sisterlocks keep their tools under wraps, and it's confidential, so that is why I'm not showing you what their tool looks like, okay? Now, these are standard items except for the Nappy Locks tool that you can buy Michaels, Arts and Craft, Joann Fabrics, Minnesota Fabrics, House of Fabrics, even Walmart in the Arts and Crafts sewing section. All right, I'm going to go through each tool. As I said earlier, this is the Sisterlocks tool. Not Sisterlocks. This is Nappy Locks. I believe the website is Happy and Nappy or Nappy and Happy. I keep mixing up the two. But that's their Nappy Locks tool. Also on that website, for those of you who want to who want latched micro locks, she basically has a business in a box. It's $70, I think $70 or $80 for a CD and a book on how to install your locks. Now, if you take your time and you buy the product, you sit down there and you read the book, follow the CD, do your homework, and take your time, you should be able to install beautiful locks if you don't want to spend the money of getting it done by someone else, okay? I think that's the way to go if you're trying to save, but if you're going to save money, you got to take your time. You have to learn the skill set, read up on the product, and take your time. If I was to install this myself, I wouldn't try to do it in 2-3 days. I'd sit down there, take a week, and bang out each. Take a week or 2 weeks even to install it. Wear a head tie, wrap your head, do whatever you need to do to make sure it's installed properly. Once your hair is installed properly, that's your foundation and your base for the rest of your locks, right? The look. Okay, let's get back to the tools at hand. As I was saying earlier, you've seen the traditional rug hooking latch, okay? This, on the other hand, is a spaghetti strap turner. You get that in the sewing department in like the stores I mentioned before. This I call it the baby cousin. I'm trying to open it. If you notice, it has a very tiny lever. Let's get this to focus. And see that little hinge and the indentation of the hinge, that little dot, that's where the hinge is. These things will break easy if you get rough and aggressive with it. As for this one, this is the micro version of it. I got this one out of, is it Joann or was it Walmart? This is even a tinier latch. Get the focus. See it? And the little hinge. I use this to retighten short tufts of hair. Let's say my lock is thinning, it's thick at the base, then the lock gets thin, and then the lock gets thick again. At the base, the hairs may be too short to use a Sisterlock tool. I use that to shorten the tufts of hair. Now you have a skinny piece in the middle. What do? I will sit there and I would tie knots in it. I've tried that approach. Tie knots in it to get it to be the same thickness, and then I would take thread. That's what this needle threader is for, and snake it through your traditional needles. Snake the thread through there, and then tack the lock down where the knots where I put to keep it from not shifting. To be honest with you, I mean, that was working good for a minute, but then the thread over time started to fade because it's dyed thread, and that just was not looking good. You either had to re-dye it, or as I've seen now in the videos, various videos on YouTube, people actually use hair as thread. So you'd take like 2 or 3 strands, you'd use this. This is a needle threader. You can find this in the Sewing Notions department, Walmart, Michaels, Joann Fabrics, House of Fabrics, anywhere that sells sewing notions. You would use this to thread the hair through these needles, and then you can use it like thread to tack your lock to keep it solid where you have the knot. So if you're tacking your hair down or darning all together, this is the same approach. You can use this to snake your lock through these needles. These are these like upholstery repair needles, or darning. It's not a darning needle. These are the you know, you see them in the grocery store, or even in the stores I mentioned earlier, like the little upholstery, and there's like this one huge curved C needle and this other long. Anyway, these 3 needles came out of here. This I would use on my micro, the next size up, which is kind of like, you know, small, and this is the larger of the smaller locks. If the hair cannot go through the eye of these needles, oh well, you're just not using it. Don't sit there and try to snake your hair through it and then use this to snake it through. If you apply too much pressure, if you apply too much pulling tension, it will snap your hair. We're not going for that, okay? All right, what hair did I not mention? This here is the Cuticle Cutter. I mentioned this one before. You get it in the beauty supply. This is the smooth one. This is used to remove the white spots at the end of the hair shaft. I had used this as an example in a previous video on how to remove the white spots out of your hair. Now, Dynamic Runner uses this same, the needle with the thread, to snake short tufts of hair into the base of the lock, which is an excellent idea. Thank you, Dynamic Runner. And check out her videos. I find she has excellent videos. She's a person who has installed her own locks and maintains them, and she has a beautiful head of hair and beautiful locks. Okay, so we covered all these here. All right, now these needles, after a while, they get kind of like this burnished look to them, and that is due to the friction of the hair passing and rubbing up. So basically it abrades the needle. Once these needles get real rough, toss them out. On a microscopic level, you're creating little metal spurs or burrs in the needle so it doesn't pass through smoothly. It can cause breakage. And whenever you use these needles to snake your hair through, the goal is to just get the needle to push the hair through the base. Then you are to pull gently, not from the needle, but, you know, use the lock with the pads of your fingers to pull it through. I'm not going to get into locking patterns or techniques. I'm not really at liberty to show what pattern or locking technique that I have, but there are various ones on YouTube. I basically don't want nobody calling me and telling me why am I giving away their secret or how they do the hair. So I'm just showing you various tools you can use. In the past, I used to use a plastic craft needle. That became a problem because the base was too wide. I used to try kind of tricks to thin it out, but we're not going there. This is what I use. And I use my traditional sister locking tools. So, if anyone has any questions, please inbox me and leave comments below. Thank you, my subscribers, for your feedback and the love. And I think that's basically it. I think I covered everything else. Oh, there's other items you can use to lock your hair. There are people who use paper clips, people who use hairpins, hair clips. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever you can use that works for you. Okay? So the sky's the limit. If anybody has anything else to add to the list, please feel free to share. All right, guys, love you all, and I'm signing off.